Her loss is less than mine, my father answered her. It made me angry, because he always had more of her when she lived, and now he claimed more of her when she was dead as well. I looked up at him, and he looked straight back at me. I knew that he saw the anger in my eyes. You had your mother for 8 years, he said. Many children do not have their mothers as long. I have thought often about those words. They have made me long to remember every moment of those 8 years. But of my infancy and young years, I remember nothing. And later, I was often with Lewis instead of my mother. Some things I do remember. I remember that my mother was kind to servants, kind to beggars. I remember that she was clever. She read as often as my father and argued with him about what ought to be printed. It was she who taught me to read. I remember that she was stout and loved the colour blue, that her feet ached often, which sometimes made her tongue sharp with me and with Lewis. But she loved my father, and when arguing with him, she would leave off in the middle of an angry sentence and shake her head and thank God for him instead. I had her for 8 years, but I wish I had had her longer, or at least more often while she lived. I know not why she died, how God gained by it, I mean. I do not know either why I am the only one of her children who lived. I often ponder it. To my father, I said only, "Yes, sir." "Are you happy then, chopping turnips in the kitchen?" "Yes, sir," I said, still determined that he would not send me to school. "You are my heir, Margaret," he said. "Some day all my books will be yours, and my copyrights, and my other interests as well. With such a dowry, you need not trouble yourself about marrying an old man, nor a sour one. You may choose someone in the trade if you like, and be a partner to him, as your mother was to me. But you must first fit yourself to be mistress of the household you will one day govern. You must go to school." He turned and left. I raised my knife and began chopping once more, carefully, for even then I was a careful girl. When I finished, the turnip was in tatters. "La, Meg, what are you doing?" Mary scolded, and cuffed me with a floury hand. "I have remembered something I must tell my father," I said, and put the knife down upon the table. I found him in the shop, which was not open. "Please, Papa, you must not send me to school," I said. "For how can I there learn the trade? I must help in the shop, like Robert." In the end, I won him over. He said he would find someone to teach me at home, and from time to time he did, but my teachers were not very suitable, and did not stay long. From one I learned to cast accounts, and from another to make plague water to ward off infection. But in the main, I worked, helping my father at our shop, where it stood in Little Britain, a street crowded with booksellers. As I worked, I listened to the great men who gathered there, as soot gathers on a chimney-piece. Perhaps, as I once heard my father say, our shillings came more from sermons and Latin grammars than from poetry and plays. But being the friend and publisher of John Dryden, the greatest of London's great literary men, played no small part in making my father an important man. As I grew, I saw much of plump, rosy Mr. Dryden. At first, I cared only that he was kindly, and free with a playful jest. But later, I began to hear him when he defended the plays of Shakespeare or the rhymed couplet. Still later, I read his plays, both the comedies and the tragedies, and some of his verses. And when Hester worried over my education, I told her that it did not matter, for I was learning all I needed to know from my father and the company he kept, and from the books we sold at the Sign of the Star.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.